Hello, welcome back. Episode 2 of Drafting the Championship Team Around X Player. Uh, Episode 1, as you can see, he's drafted number 1 because number 1 ADP. Christian McCaffrey went over a team that I thought, we did this last year. I think it's the best team we've ever drafted. I think there's definitely a lot of good possibilities there, and I think there'll be great possibilities here as well. We're going to go with Tyreek Hill. Obviously, he's ADP 2 right now. And again, for all of you paying attention, this roster is going to be your quote unquote normal roster. One quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, tight end, two flexes, kicker, defense, bench. It's going to be half PPR, so keep that in mind. Obviously, scoring roster settings, that's going to change the ADPs and the ranks of players in Sleeper. But without further ado, we know who we are taking. We are taking Tyreek Hill. Get him on the board there, and I guess let's see how the board shakes out before it comes back to us. A little bit of a running back run there. ETN went somewhat early, and it is our turn again. All right, so we'll pause it there. All right, so we got some options here. Obviously, very, very, very similar to when we took Christian McCaffrey. Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Travis Kelce, but Kyren Williams is there as well. A lot of people are a little hesitant on Kyren Williams. They see that Blake Corum was drafted. They see he's a great player. They say, well, McVay never likes running backs, yada, 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 yada. I don't think that's important. I really don't. Is Kyren Williams the best running back of all time? No. Is he the best fantasy option of all time? Also, no. That's why, 7 running backs were taken before him. But I think he's a good option. I think what happened with the Rams is they saw the situation if Kyren Williams got hurt and were scared shitless by it. So I think he's perfectly fine. I think he's a great running back. He hasn't shown any reason to not trust him. So I think he's a great running back to take here. And on the bend, it looks like the CPU took Adams and Allen. So it's our pick again. So we went Tyreek Hill and Kyren Williams in the first and the second. Now it's our chance again. This is a tough spot for me because, in my opinion, how I'm looking at it right now, Tyreek Hill is elite. We know that. Kyren Williams is very good. He is not elite. So I think right here you have to take running back. Achane and Josh Jacobs are on the board. If you watch the first episode of Christian McCaffrey, you know my reasons for not liking both of them. I just think their ADPs are absolutely ridiculous. Isaiah Pacheco I like, and I think he gives you a nice little help, nice little cushion with Kyren Williams. And so we're going to take him there. I think that's a great start. Obviously, you have your elite playmaker, Tyreek Hill. You have 2 solid running backs. Nothing that's going to make you go, hell yeah, but they're very good running backs that will definitely help you and are definitely 2 running backs you can mold the lineup around. So now it is back to us again. Rachaad White just came off the board. And we have a 4th round pick to make. Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, James Cook, Malik Neighbors, Joe Mixon, Michael Pittman, Kenneth Walker. I got to be honest, I don't understand why Stephon Diggs is here. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. I don't know why anybody likes Stephon Diggs this year. I've seen the PPR ranks the last final years. What I would ask you is, have you seen what that team is like? They have Tank Dell. They have Nico Collins. John Mechie has looked very good. They have Joe Mixon. They have a lot of guys that can catch passes. And I just don't know what we're going to see out of Stephon Diggs. He's a prima donna. He cries and whines if he doesn't get the ball. His game suffers when that happens. We saw a lot down the road last time, so much that Buffalo just said, take him. We're fine. And I think he helps Houston overall because you have to respect his abilities. But fantasy, I don't know why we're trusting him, right? He could be a third option at times. Again, he takes himself out of games. So I look at Cooper Kupp here and I say, why is he not the bona fide guy? Obviously, he had a little bit of a down last year because of injuries to start the season. But once he got going, he did all right. He had some bad games in here. Obviously, he had, 29 yards, 21 yards, and 7 and 8. But week 8 was against Dallas. We need to take that into account. 118, 148, weeks 5 and 6, weeks 14 and 15, 115, 111. He had some touchdowns in there. I think he did just fine last year. It was a tough injury to come back from. I know he was PPR 40 wide receiver, but I think Puka Nacua is going to regress a little bit. I think Kupp is still Stafford's favorite guy. I think right here you take Cooper Kupp. I think he has the biggest ceiling, and even if he's not great, he's a wide receiver too, and that should make you feel good. So with the 4th round pick, we're going to take Cooper Kupp, and that's how the end of that round shakes out. So now we're up in the 5th again. Stephon Diggs is still there. James Cook, Malik Neighbors, Michael Pittman, Kenneth Walker, C.J. Stroud, Devontae Smith. Now, just like last time we did the draft, I told you I like to wait on running backs outside the first, honestly, 3-4 rounds in this draft. I like to wait a while. I'm not sold on Stephon Diggs. James Cook, we know who's going to run it come goal-to-go situations. It's Josh Allen. Malik Neighbors, rookie, and that offensive line, don't trust it. Michael Pittman with Anthony Richardson, I don't know if he's going to be able to stay on the field. Anthony Richardson. Kenneth Walker, same thing. So it becomes now, for me, do you want a quarterback right now? Or do you want maybe a wide receiver tight end? To me, I don't think the tight ends here are that much better than tight ends later. I know everybody's high on McBride and Kincaid. I don't see it. So to me, I think this situation is between Devontae Smith and Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara is going to have a fantastic year. I think Devontae Smith's going to have a fantastic year. So if you're looking at it, I think it depends which do you trust less, the tandem of Kyren Williams and Isaiah Pacheco, or the tandem of Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. Because they have Tyreek Hill, I'm going to trust the wide receivers more. So I think it would be better to get a running back here. I think there are a lot of running backs you can wait on, and I like that. And I can wait on running back, but I think Alvin Kamara gives you a game breaker type running back that I think he's the last one. The last one in this draft at his ADP. I think he's a great value here. I'm taking Alvin Kamara in the 5th round. Now you have 2 wide receivers, three running backs. I think that's a very good start. And so now we'll see how it comes back to us for our 6th round pick. It's coming down to us. There it is. And that pick looks perfect because Aaron Jones went right before us. He was the other guy that I could kind of see taking at running back. A lot of troubles with the running backs just taken. I said Cook and Walker. I said why. Connor, injuries. I think Trey Benson's a heck of a player as well. Dave Montgomery, I think Gibbs gets bumped up a little bit. He still gets goal line touches, but how consistent can he be? So now we're looking at Anthony Richardson. I talked about him. I don't know if he can stay on the field. He's had incredible injury concerns all throughout his career. I don't trust it. So now we can look at tight end or wide receiver. And we picked George Kittle last time, but let's say you're optimistic and you want to see what Kyle Pitts can do. I think either way, you don't go wrong. I think either way, you take tight end here because I think they have great value here. But since we took George Kittle, the last pick or the last time, we'll take Pitts there, and then we'll see how it shakes out. There it is. Kittle's still available. Obviously, we won't take him. And I like how this shakes out too. The board, obviously, Anthony Richardson's still there. Kittle's still there. Pickens still there. Joe Burrow, DeAndre Swift, Christian Kirk. I like them. I don't think they're the move. I think the move is right under him. I think it's Terry McLaurin. He's not the best receiver in the game. I think he's a little overrated, but he's had 1,000 receiving yards each of the last 4 years. And he doesn't get a lot of touchdowns, and he doesn't get much more than 1,000 receiving yards, so that's usually why his PPR ranks aren't finishing high. But you look at where he's finished since he's gone to the league, 29th, 20th, 25th, 14th, 28th in PPR. If you take him here, he's your wide receiver 3. That fits perfectly in line with where you want him. You know what you're going to get with him. As long as he's on the field, you know you're going to get a top 30 receiver. I think he's an absolute great steal here. And it doesn't matter, right? If Hill and Kupp do amazing, he's a great wide receiver 3. If one of them falters a little bit, he can be a soft wide receiver 2 for you as well while you sort that out. So he won't handcuff you at all. So we'll take him in the 7th round, and we will go on to the 8th round as we pause the draft here. And again, I love how this falls. I'm not going to name them all out that are available. I'm just going to name the one guy that I want. It's Chris Godwin. This year he's going to return to the slot, and that was the role where he finished as PPR 19, 16, 31, and 2 the last 4 years. And that PPR 31 was playing 12 games only. He's going to go back to the slot. He's a monster in the slot. Do not underestimate him. Baker Mayfield is doing great for fantasy. That division is weak. He will be incredible again. Again, we talked about Terry McLaurin giving you a safety blanket at wide receiver 3. Chris Godwin could be a safety blanket at wide receiver 3 as well. And you get him as wide receiver 4. So perfect. So now we slip around to the 9th round. And now we're looking, we just took 2 receivers. So we have 4 receivers, 3 running backs, and a tight end. Chubb went into the 8th round there. That would have been a nice one. But I think the move here is probably running back. But this gives you an interesting situation that, you look through the guys that are there. Not a ton, right? At the top of the board, Evan Ingram, Rashee Rice, Jordan Love, Brock Bowers, Jordan Addison, Jake Ferguson, Njoku, McConkey, Moss, Williams. You don't need tight ends, so that takes off half the board. You don't need wide receivers, so that takes off another half of the board, right? So you really get Jordan Love, or do you really reach on Zach Moss or Javonte Williams? I like Javonte Williams. I don't think there is any point to reach for him. I think there's some better running backs a little later. So I'm going to take Jordan Love here. Again, I talked about how I don't have super high expectations for him compared to other quarterbacks and other people in the industry, but I still think he's a great pick in the 9th round. So you look at that. Whole starting lineup is done and dusted. And now we can just look for flyers and the bench. And it is back to our pick again in the 10th round. Not a ton has changed. Top of the board, Brock Bowers, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, Christian Watson, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Brian Robinson, Brian Thomas. Down a little more to it, Dallas Goedert, Tajay Spears, Trey Benson, Ezekiel Elliott. This is a place, obviously you're not going to take another quarterback, another tight end, wouldn't make any sense. I think this is a place where you take a flyer on Christian Watson. I'm not a Christian Watson fan. I think he's an injury concern. I think he's a little baby. I think he doesn't play when hurt because he's never been asked to. But with that being said, when he's on the field, he can be a playmaker. I think at this point, you're taking shots in the dark. I like what he gets you. He is definitely a shot in the dark, so we'll take Christian Watson there. And the draft comes back around after just 2 picks. And this gives you a nice place, too, because now you're in the 11th round, and you have Hill, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Christian Watson as your wide receivers. You have 5. You really don't need another wide receiver, and that's nice. I think once you start getting to the 11th, 15th round, wide receivers, not loving them anymore. So Brian Robinson is here. I don't like it, though. I don't like it because Austin Eckler is there. I don't think Austin Eckler is very good, but I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot, and I think Austin Eckler is the pass catcher in this backfield. Tyjae Spears, again, he's going to be behind Pollard. I don't love it. Benson, I think he's going to be good, but he's behind Connor. Don't love it. Ezekiel Elliott's running back 1 for a great offense. I think it's as simple as that. We took him last draft early. I think you take him right there as well. So now we're coming to the final 4 rounds here. Coming around on our side on round 12. And there we go with Zach Charbonnet off the board. The board's looking a little dicey. And once again, we're going to make the same move. Look at your team. You have top running backs. You have Kyron Williams, Dave Pacheco. You also have Alvin Kamara, 3 great running backs. You also have Ezekiel Elliott, who, as your running back 4 for a guy who's a starter on the Cowboys, that's great. So you don't really need running back. You don't really need wide receiver. TJ Hawkinson is going to be a difference maker. He won't be here the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. He's on the PUP list, I know. But what the PUP list does, gives you the ability to put him on the IR, pick up another guy right after the draft. Don't have to worry about drafting a kicker or a defense. I think he's the move here because you can just stash him. And when he comes back, he's going to be a heck of a play. So we'll take TJ Hawkinson there. And now comes back to us. You go, well, what do we do here? Do we take a second quarterback? That's obviously never the move. I think the move here is Chuba Hubbard. I really do. He's going to probably start the season as running back one for Carolina. I understand Jonathan Brooks was just drafted. He was drafted high there, but he's coming off a leg injury, and who knows? He might struggle in his first year. Chuba Hubbard might be the guy, or maybe they're just extra cautious with him. He gets banged up for a couple weeks. They shut him down completely. That's not completely out of the question. Um, I don't love this pick, obviously, but for this guy being your running back five, I think he'd definitely do worse. And he starts as a starter. So maybe you can get somebody to bite if he has a good first 2 weeks. Use him as trade bait. Worse things have happened. So we'll take Chuba Hubbard in the 13th. And now we just have 2 rounds left to go. So we'll work our way back in the 14th. Obviously, CPU here taking a lot of kickers and defenses, which will probably be how many fantasy drafts go, but we don't do that. We know that. 14th round here. I said the last episode, Jacoby Myers was a good flyer for me. We'll go to a different one. I'm gonna say Mike Williams here. Is Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? Aaron Rodgers is coming back pissed off an injury. He's going to do some damages here. We understand that. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, if not one of the best at placement and intelligence. So he's a good flyer there. And now it is back to us again. And at this point, yeah, sure, we'll take another flyer as well. Obviously, Jacoby Myers is there, Josh Palmer, Rico Dowdle, Jerry Jeudy. I think the guy here is Xavier Leggett. I think it is. I don't think we know what Carolina is going to look like. I think Deontay Johnson is the bona fide one, but outside of that, we don't know. And who knows if we can even trust Deontay Johnson, so we'll take Xavier Leggett there. So as the draft comes to an end here is your final roster. We took Tyreek Hill in the first round with the second pick. We took Kyron Williams and Pacheco in the second and third, Kupp and Kamara in the fourth and the fifth, Pitts and McLaurin in 6 and 7, Godwin and Love in 8 and 9, Christian Watson and Ezekiel Elliott in 10 and 11, Hawkinson and Chuba Hubbard in 12 and 13, Mike Williams and Xavier Leggett in 14 and 15. You look at this team, obviously Jordan Love, you like what he does at quarterback. Kyron Williams, Isaiah Pacheco, nothing crazy, right? You don't have the best running back room, but you definitely don't have the worst. You also have Kamara there who can help supplement it. You got Ezekiel Elliott, again, starting running back. Chuba Hubbard, he's starting at least for the first couple weeks with Brooks out. And you look at wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. That's probably one of the better ones, even if Cooper Kupp is just average this year. Kyle Pitts there, got Terry McLaurin, and some of those other guys that can be big play potentials like Christian Watson coming up the rear. And that's just a good solid draft. You have some lottery tickets, but you have a lot of good solid players in the draft, and that's that's about all you can ask for. So with that being said, that's how you draft a championship team around Tyreek Hill.